After dinner, Lin Fan and Chen Yang took the bus to school as usual. On the bus, he met a petite girl who couldn't hold the handrail, so he politely gave up his seat to her. Then a girl in a punk style came to Lin Fan and said domineeringly to Lin Fan, "Didn't I ask you to stand for me? Why didn't you stand for me? Are you itchy?" He also slapped Lin Fan's face twice. This is... A bloody man suddenly rushed onto the bus, screaming, "Drive quickly. There's a psychopath who wants to kill." Before the driver could react, a bald man in a hospital gown rushed up with a kitchen knife in his hand. Seeing this, the poser who was arrogant just now suddenly became cowardly. Then the bald man came to the girl and swung his arm down, but was stopped by Lin Fan in the next second. Everyone was shocked by this scene. Isn't he in pain? At this time, the bald man looked at Lin Fan, sweating profusely. He felt a pressure coming towards him. His feet couldn't help but take 2 steps back. This is a high-level psychopath. It's the suppression of low-level psychopaths. The bald man was scared and sat on the ground. When he saw Lin Fan slowly walking over, he was scared to tears. When Lin Fan got out of the car, he saw the scene was squatting nearby and doubted his life. So he went up to greet him friendly. When the emo saw Lin Fan no longer had the domineering look just now, he trembled and reached out to shake hands with Lin Fan. On the other hand, the bald man was controlled and being taken away. He accidentally saw Lin Fan not far away. He was shocked and then shouted that he was the mental patient and ran towards the distance. When Lin Fan arrived at the school gate, looked at the name of the school, he thought that if Teacher Jiang came here, he would be an outstanding acupuncture teacher. Thinking of that scene, he felt very excited. Lin Fan came to his seat and just sat down. A pen suddenly poked his arm. It turned out that Lin Fan crossed the senba line drawn by his desk mate. If it were Chen Yang in normal times, he would have screamed and said, "It hurts so much." But today it was Lin Fan. Lin Fan looked at the girl expressionlessly. The girl wondered, could it be that she poked too lightly? Why didn't he react? When the girl approached to take the pen out, she found that Lin Fan had been pricked by her. She screamed and ran away. Hao Mao saw the girl he liked crying and running out, but he didn't respond at all. Seeing this, jokingly said that the girl you like, Li Zhu, was bullied by Cheng Yang. "I'll help you get back at him after class." Hao Mao was scared. He stopped him and said, "This kid is a bit weird. Don't do this." But the blue cat said with disdain, "Isn't he just a sissy? What's so weird about it?" Just then, Lin Fan, who possessed Cheng Yang, walked over and greeted him very friendly. The blue cat, seeing this, nonchalantly picked his nose. But the red-haired cat was nervous and flattering and shook hands with Lin Fan. The blue cat was shocked. He said to the red-haired one that you actually sent a sissy. Class is starting, and it's time for the students to fear. The teacher's favorite roll call session. Everyone else was nervous. Only Lin Fan looked like a good boy. Coincidentally, Lin Fan was called to recite the homework. Lin Fan stood up. He looked at the teacher with a righteous look, saying he didn't recite. The teacher's eyes suddenly radiated a cold chill. The two looked at each other. Soon, the teacher's head broke out in a cold sweat. He felt from Lin Fan's smile. He felt something unusual. Then he asked Lin Fan to sit down. After class, Blue Cat grabbed Lin Fan's shoulder to trouble him. But Lin Fan ignored the Blue Cat. The Blue Cat was angry and grabbed Lin Fan's. Lin Fan said to the Blue Cat with the key, "Do you believe in light? And it can make you stronger." The Blue Cat was immediately angry. "Are you crazy or am I crazy?" Before he finished speaking, Lin Fan pressed it. Then the Blue Cat walked away with one hand on Lin Fan. The students behind saw this, excitedly said, "I didn't expect that. Yang Zishen, you can do this. Call your bro." Before he could say the first word, his hand was placed on it. So the first word in his mouth became Chan Ni, and then he started to shake. The two students behind were shocked. They said, "What kind of dance are they doing? Feeling so cool." So they joined in. Soon the whole class joined in the chaotic dance. The scene was very spectacular. Fortunately, Lin Fan stopped soon. When he turned around and saw the students lying on the ground, he said that sleeping should be done in bed, not on the ground. Maybe they were too tired from studying. And then he peed. When the teacher opened the door, students were lying on the ground, which shocked him to swear. Then he quickly called the hospital. The hospital sent dozens of ambulances to take away the students who had turned black. Lin Fan looked at the ambulance through the window and sighed that it was a terrifying place. This man is so miserable. He was just diagnosed with cancer. His wife brought a young man to the hospital and wanted to divorce him. Finally, he couldn't think of anything and climbed to the top. Fortunately, Lin Fan, who possessed Chunyang, was quick and pulled him in with a backhand. The man who was rescued began to cry bitterly. Seeing this, Lin Fan went forward and patted the man's head, comforting him that it's okay. Hearing this, and hugged Lin Fan's leg and cried even harder. Just then, the doctor arrived and took the man away. Lin Fan's arm was also broken because of saving people. This scene was filmed by a classmate in the hospital bed and sent it to his friends. Since then, Chun Yang, who was possessed by Lin Fan, in the eyes of his classmates, changed from a sissy to a tough guy. Lin Fan was taken to the operating room. Looking at this place he had been to countless times, he felt very familiar. Lin Fan once again asked the doctor not to give him anesthesia. The doctor sighed that such a good kid. Wouldn't his brain be damaged by excessive blood loss? Just then, the system prompted that Lin Fan's mission was completed. Not only had he cultivated the Qiangshui Bolian to perfection, but also received a bonus Qigong practice method. 3 seconds later, Lin Fan was teleported from the abnormal scene to his body. Lao Zhang looked at Lin Fan in confusion and asked, "What happened?" Lin Fan told Lao Zhang that he was teleported to a scene, but also turned into a psychopath who likes to wear girls' pajamas. On the other side, after Lin Fan left, Chun Yang became his previous delicate self again. When he arrived at school, he was blocked at the school gate by a group of bullies. Just as Chun Yang trembled with fear, he was startled by the neat movements of the bullies. Seeing this, Chun Yang swallowed nervously and slowly walked towards the classroom and towards the peak of his life. In the corner not far away at this time, a girl was silently watching Chun Yang. It was Chun Yang who was rejected by Lin Fan. The goddess in her heart The girl looked at Chun Yang not far away, sighed sadly that I really didn't deserve it. This girl is so pitiful. She finally gathered the courage to confess to the boy, but was rejected by Lin Fan, who possessed the boy, and was made to cry by the words "you don't deserve." In this way, the boy's beautiful first love has already ended, and the classmates who were made black by Lin Fan, the blackened classmates, were lying in the hospital ward in 2 rows, laying in 2 rows, and humming in their mouths. Some were crying out in pain, and those who were dying, and some were calling for their mothers. Soon they began to wonder how they ended up in the hospital. After discussion, other classmates all looked at the blue-haired one. Blue-haired said angrily, "It's none of my business. I had inspiration before. That guy asked me if I believed in light before. I knew it was really hard. After reading it in the ward, I didn't find Lin Fan, so he proudly said that the guy must still be in rescue. We were all in such a state. He must be worse." Just then, a head poked in from the door. When everyone saw it was Lin Fan, they were all shocked, and their minds went blank. The scene suddenly became very quiet. Everyone was staring at Lin Fan, who was walking in. The person who directly touched the light was fine. Could it be the light? It turned out that Lin Fan came to visit them with condolences. When Lin Fan handed the gift to the blue cat, Blue Cat said ungratefully, "Who cares about your condolences?" At this moment, Hong Mao next to him spoke, calling Shen brother, and explained for Blue Cat. At this moment, a classmate panicked and asked everyone to look at the grade group, the group where only the school leaders could speak. When everyone picked up their phones to look, their faces turned black with surprise. Their hands holding phones trembled. Everyone trembled like they had Parkinson's. On the phone screen, it was a picture of the school bully Huang Mao being bullied by Lin Fan. Seeing this, the once arrogant blue cat suddenly became humble and said in a trembling voice, "Brother Chen, thank you for coming to see me," and brought a micro problem. There was a distraught patient standing on the top floor. Just now, the wife who had lived with him for more than 10 years, his wife came to divorce him with a little white. He was so desperate that he couldn't think straight. He came to the top floor and let himself go. When he was falling rapidly downwards, he was seen by the classmates in the room. Chun Yang turned around, and then a monkey steal peach. He pulled the patient in through the window. The patient was confused, and the classmates in the room were stunned, and they all cursed. Damn, this is not human. The patient who came to his senses cried sadly. Chun Yang was strong, touched the patient's head with his hand, saying, "It's okay, don't be scared." Hearing this, and hugged Chun Yang's thigh and cried even harder. At this time, people from the hospital rushed in. Under the nurse's comfort, the patient was taken out crying because he just saved people. Chun Yang broke his arm, but Chun Yang said calmly, "It's okay, just connect it. Just connect it." Hearing Chun Yang's words, several doctors were confused. Blue Cat and Red Cat also posted Lin Fan's photo in their friend circle. Since then, Chun Yang has changed from a sissy. He became the big brother. Lin Fan led the whole class of boys, danced wildly in the classroom. Although they were all grown men, but they all danced better than each other, and shaking more urgently than the other. Those who didn't know thought it was a collective epilepsy. Lin Fan felt it was not enough. He left the blackened classmate behind and took the excuse to go to the bathroom to leave. When the teacher saw the students lying on the ground, he shouted in surprise and quickly called the hospital. The hospital dispatched dozens of ambulances to take all the blackened students away. Lin Fan,